Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar series on how to make the most of analytics and reporting with Neto Analytics Studio. Every Wednesday morning for the next 5 weeks, we'll be running a webinar on the different analytics topics, with today's being all about the importance of customer segmentation. And we're really excited today because we're joined by our friends over at Glue for the webinar series. So, I'll introduce them to you and pass you over to them a little later on. So, but first, who or what is Glue? Well, Glue.io is the underlying technology that we've baked into the Neto Analytics Studio platform, meaning you get the best in class for analytics software from within Neto. We select Glue because they are the very best in their field of e-commerce analytics and business intelligence software. So today we have Jeanette and Megan from Glue joining us. Jeanette is the Senior Data Analyst, and Megan is the Executive Vice President of Sales. So thank you for joining us, Jeanette and Megan.
Thank you. We're excited to be here with you guys.
Excellent. My name's Curtis. I'm the technical content writer here at Neto, and I manage the help articles, the community forums, and online learning courses in our support hub. So let's get stuck in. So what exactly is customer segmentation? Why is it so important? Well, it's all about understanding and identifying different characteristics of your customers in order to send the right message to the right customers at the right time. These characteristics might be their purchase frequency, their browsing activity, or demographics like how old they are or where they live. But you're probably wondering how customer segmentation can help increase revenue by 760%, the title of this webinar. 760% is a pretty huge figure, right? Well, according to a study by leading email marketing platform Campaign Monitor, marketers found a 760% increase in email revenue from segmented campaigns compared to a one-size-fits-all campaign. Basically, today's consumers are bombarded with information, and as a retailer, you really need to look for ways to cut through the noise and reach your customers with segmentation and personalization. Our experts from Glue will shortly go through into much more detail about this and show you how, with Neto Analytics Studio, you can easily export customer segments for targeted email marketing and advertising campaigns. But first, for those of you who don't know, the Neto Analytics Studio is our new reporting and insights tool that, as I mentioned, is powered by Glue. Neto Analytics Studio pulls all of your data sources together, whether it's your Google AdWords, Facebook, or MailChimp data, to deliver business intelligence, analytics, reporting, and automation to uncover your store's most profitable products, customer segments, and channels. This will help you make data-driven decisions that generate more revenue and drive your profitability. So what do you get in the Neto Analytics Studio? Well, it's one central dashboard for your business's data. You get dependable, accurate, and actionable information. You get to save hours by automating your reports. You get to understand your customers' purchase behavior. You can segment your customers to market specifically to them, gain insights into your actual product performance, and analyze your marketing to know what is working and how. So how can Neto Analytics Studio help with customer segmentation? Well, now I'm going to hand it over to Jeanette and Megan to answer that for you.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Awesome, guys. So is everyone able to see my screen on the Neto Analytics? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. So what's great about the customer segmentation is not only with your Neto Analytics Studio do you have the ability to, like Curtis was saying, have different segments and groups. And what's awesome is that anytime my customers do any sort of custom segmentation, they've seen a really great increase in their amount of revenue. So I've had customers that have made anywhere from $5,000 off of one segmented campaign all the way up to $50,000. So there's a lot of really good information in here that you guys can use. And even if you start with just a couple campaigns and then run more and more, there's all kinds of different ideas that we'll share with you today. So if you notice on underneath the customers, there's going to be some different preset segments that are already in here for your use. So you can see it ranges anywhere from your VIP customers. So if you click on any of the different segments, it'll actually show you the actual, if you hover over the eye, it'll show you exactly the segment. So you can see these are going to be your customers that are in the top 10% of your revenue. Keep in mind, we're actually going off of the date range as well. So there's all kinds of really great things that you can do too with the date range, maybe isolating different metrics, whether it's, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and you want to isolate different customers. So all kinds of different things you can do. It will show you then your different customer groups, what they are, and then you can see some different metrics surrounding that group. So the number of customers, the revenue, orders, average order value, the lifetime value. So obviously lifetime value is extremely valuable. So for what we're looking at right now, we're just looking at dummy data. So to give you a sense for this dummy store, the lifetime value of the store is $192. So just keep that in mind as we go through. I'm going to show you guys a couple of different ways to really isolate different customer groups that have a really high lifetime value. And then if you also click on products purchased, that's going to show you all the different products that that specific customer has purchased in that segment. So a couple of ideas that are valuable with the different preset segments is maybe you look at your customers that have high average order value and look at the products that they're purchasing, and maybe you will pitch those products to your customers that have low average order value. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do with these different preset segments. You also have the ability to export any of the different segments that we put together today. So I'm going to show you how to build some custom ones in just a minute, but you can actually export these. And these segments, not only are they great for email marketing, but they're also fabulous for Facebook audience. So we have a ton of customers that will actually export these and then run these through their Facebook advertising. And they've had a really great success because you have the ability to put your lifetime value in the Facebook audiences, so you can target customers that are very similar to your best customers. And then you'll notice this right here. So this is actually for the different segments you can actually push. Right now we actually integrate with MailChimp, so you can automate all of the different segments, and then from there, with the automation, you can set up different automated journeys to really drive revenue. If you guys use another email tool, that's absolutely fine. A lot of my clients do. You can actually export that and import it into your email marketing tool. And then we are also going to be offering the integration with Klaviyo and Bronto in early April too, as well, if you guys use any of those. So again, these are some of the different pre-defined segments. You can kind of see a lot of opportunity. You'll notice too, like people that haven't purchased in 12 months. You'll see value shoppers. Those are going to be clients that have only ever purchased using a discount coupon versus your full price customers who have never purchased using a discount coupon. So I always say to my customers, pitch to your customers. So, instead of offering your full price customers a discount coupon, perhaps maybe if you guys release a new product, you give them access to, being able to see the new product first. So all kinds of different things that you guys can do with the preset segments. So if we hop over to the customer list, again, just keep in mind we're going off of the date range in the top right-hand corner, and you can customize this as well. So we're looking at so far this year. So from there, you'll be able to see all of your different customers. You can also access any of those different preset segments that we just went over. And before we get started building just a couple of the few, I want to show you that you have the ability to see your different customers and all these different really valuable stats. So you can see like first order date, last order date. If you scroll over, you can see revenue, city, state, country. You can even look at the device. So was it mobile, tablet, the channel that they came from? So a lot of really valuable information. And then if you actually click on any of the different customer profiles, this will show you all of the interaction the client has had with you. So I actually work with a company called Reckitt Benckiser. It's $1 billion company. They make Airborne. That might be something that you guys are familiar with. And they actually use this right here just for their basically their internal CRM tool. So we can see everything that Mia has done with our site. We can see that she came directly, she created an account, she abandoned a couple of items, and then she came back and purchased a couple of items. So all of these different metrics you'll be able to see. And then I want you guys to take notice of something called the customer status. So what that is that's actually unique to the Neto Analytics Studio. So what that does is it looks at your customers that have purchased more than one time, so your 2 purchase customers plus, and it looks at the time in between those purchases to calculate your lapse point. So this lapse point for this store that we're looking at today, the demo store, is 162 days. So it's basically saying, based on your historical data, if your customer doesn't purchase within 162 days, they're likely to not purchase again. And from there, it dumps them into different buckets. So we have our active customers who are actively purchasing within the 162 days, our at-risk customers who are within that 20% window. So that means that let's say the lapse point is 100 days. So it would be, if they're on day 80, they would fall into at risk. And then your loss, those are going to be your customers that are outside of that 162 days. So the different customer status, the active, at risk, and loss, those are also all preset in Glue too. So you can see those lists will be dynamically updated that you can then access. And then just beneath there, a couple things I like to point out. You can see the different suggested products for the customer based off of their purchase behavior. So you can suggest different products to the clients, as well as you can see the different categories they've purchased in, and then the different customer segments each customer falls into. So if we go back out into the customer list, I'm going to show you how we can build different custom segmentation. So I think to me are so much fun because there's all kinds of different things that you can do. So just for an example of this store, let's take a look at the average order value. So what I'm going to do is I want to look at the average order value for so far this year. So the average order value for so far this year for my store is $105. So I'm really curious. I want to see all of my customers that have an average order value that is greater than 2 times the current average order value of 105. So I come in and I click on the filter customers. And what's awesome is that you can add as many filters as you want. So you guys can get really creative and have a really good time. So you can see, let's go ahead and we're going to come in here and we're going to do average order value is greater than or equal to. So I'm going to multiply that 105 times 2. So that's going to give me 210. So I want to see all my customers that their average order value is 2 times. And you can label it whatever you want. And then if you click segment, that's going to generate a segment. So keep in mind, earlier I was telling you guys for this demo store, the lifetime value is $192. So now you can see this pulled a group of customers, 206 customers, so 1% of my overall customer base with a lifetime value of $658. So that's an awesome group of customers that I would want to then advertise to or market. So I could export them and upload them and maybe run an email campaign or export them and add them into the Facebook audience lookalike groups, looking at that lifetime value. A couple of other different ideas that we have. So one thing that a lot of my clients like to do is you can actually look at like the first order date. So some of my clients will do like a happy anniversary. So you can actually look at their first order date is. So let's actually do today's March 6, 2018. So if I was to go back to March 6, 2017, these would be happy anniversary clients, and run a campaign that could even just say, hey, we've been together for a year, and that's another really good way to make your client feel really special. I know that I always love getting those emails that are kind of tailored to me as a consumer. So you can see, again, the lifetime value of this one too is 254. That's also a really good one to run as well. And then you also have the ability to, one of the things that our clients can have done, we have a client that's called RMS Beauty. So one of the things that they noticed is that they were having customers that were not converting after the second purchase. So they would purchase one time, and they weren't converting after the second purchase. So they were really curious as to why that was. They didn't really know why that was happening. So they actually decided to break it down and look at their customers that were international versus domestic. So this was a US company. So let's say, for example, I want to say country is not US. So this would be my international customers. And so what RSM Beauty noticed was that when they actually polled all of their different customers and broke them out by domestic and international, they noticed it was their international customers that weren't purchasing for a second time. And that had to do with the shipping costs. So the marketing gal was finally able to take the data into the COO and say, hey, we have to rethink our strategy just on our international clients with our shipping, because our clients aren't converting to 2 or more purchases. So all kinds of different things you can do. Again, you can, like I said, you can add as many different filters as you want. So if you wanted to do, maybe you wanted to look at another one of mine that I like is maybe you want to look at the customer status that's lost and look at people that haven't purchased within X amount of time frame. Another one that I always like to run too as well is going to be the total revenue. So is greater than or equal to, let's just say 500, depending on your average order value. So for this store, that would be a little bit larger. And then maybe I want to see people that have spent $500, but I want to see people that have the number of refunds is 0. Because you can have people that will spend a lot of money, but then they also refund. So these would be revenue 500 and no refunds. As you guys can see, and then that one is a great one because look, that one has a lifetime value of $1,318. So those are just a couple of the different segments that we were going to talk about that had to do with the custom. The last thing I wanted to quickly show you guys is Curtis was mentioning the 0 purchase campaign. So if you click on the feature value, this is actually going to show you, it's just another way to look at your customers and broken down into the different purchase behavior. So this doesn't go off of a date range picker. This is actually over the whole life of your store. So you can see this right here. This is going to show you your 0 purchase customers. So these are going to be all of your customers that have come to your website and created an account, but haven't ever converted as a client. So as I was saying, I have customers that have made anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, and that's off of this one campaign right here. So let's say, for example, I sent out an email that was like, hey, thanks so much for coming by. As a thank you for stopping by, and we'd love to work with you. Here's 10% off your first order. Even if I converted 10% of this, that would be another 250 new customers that I didn't have before. And then again, you can look at like your 1 purchase and your 2 purchases, etc. I think I always tell my clients there's a lot of value really right here in this 0 and 1 purchase as well. Because if you can get a customer to convert over into a 2 purchase and 3 purchase, then they're more likely to continue to buy from you guys. So that's kind of a quick overview. I know that we had blocked up some time for questions. So I'm going to actually head over to the questions and see if you guys have some in there. Okay. So it looks like
sorry
Tom,
about that. I just clicked off your screen. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I'll leave it to you guys to answer some questions.
Okay, awesome. So it looks like, let's see, I'm going to just scroll down to make sure I didn't look at any. Let's see. So looks like Tom, the first one is Tom, and he said, can you talk about segmenting based on product category? I couldn't find a way to do that effectively, but we like to segment customers that buy a specific portion of our range with complementary items. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys again so that you can see that, and I will go into that. So there's a way with the products that you can actually look at all of your different customers, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So just like with the customers, there's a really in-depth in the Neto Analytics Studio. There's a lot of in-depth product information. So with any of the different products, you can actually click on, so this is going to be like the product list, similar to the segments, like with the customer segments, the preset segments, that you'll have those for the products as well. But to answer your question, Tom, if you actually click on the categories, This will then pull up all of the categories that you have set up in your store. And then from there, you can click on any of the different categories, and that will pull up a list of customers that you can export, that you can then email market to or Facebook market to, the different products that might be complementary to that specific type of product that the customer is purchasing. And then I'm going to turn my screen off and see, let's see, it looks like we have a question from Nick. So you said, can I export different segment lists and import them into other applications, i.e. Facebook, other email tools? So yes, Nick, you have the ability to export any of the different customer lists and import them into any tool that you want. So if you wanted to do it into Facebook, if you wanted to do it into, a lot of my clients use Klaviyo. Like I said, that integration is coming in early April, as well as Bronto. But yes, you have the ability to use them however you like. And then looks like another one, a question from Nick said, can I segment by country, city, or state? So yes, Nick, you do have the ability to do that. I'll share my screen with you guys again so that you can see me do that really quickly. So through the custom category or through the custom segmentation, if we go back into the customers, and then again, click on that blue button, you can then filter it down by postal code, city, state, or country. I actually have one of my clients, Jenny Yu. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but she does bridal dresses where she actually breaks it down on different postal codes. And that's how she actually does her accounting with her taxes. So she looks at like different geographical locations, breaks out the different orders, and looks at the number of tax. So there's all kinds of things you can do as well. Okay, so we have a question from Christina. So that said, I'm interested in setting up wholesale and retail email channels and how to find purchasing trends within those. So, and then we also have something from Jeff. He said, I'm also interested in wholesale segmentation. So that's all through the customer filtering. So I know with some of our clients, like they have different tags or labels on there that they're like a wholesale client, or even different email addresses. So a lot of our clients will actually, let me share my screen with you guys again. Will actually, you can use the filter. So let's say you have different wholesale items or orders. You can actually look at whether it's, you have them by email. You can actually look at different email addresses. So if it is, a lot of my clients will segment them out by wholesale and then not wholesale by email addresses. That's one way to do it. There's a couple of different ways. It just really depends on how you have your wholesale set up in your Neto account. But that's one way to actually segment out your customers. So you can kind of look at like the lifetime value of your wholesale versus regular. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do with that as well. And then let's see. Okay. So Ryan had asked, how does it work out lapse point? Mine says 18 days, which is way too small. So Ryan, I would say, I would be curious. One of my first questions would be, how long have you actually been using Neto e-commerce platform? So typically I would say the lapse point, you guys can actually manipulate the lapse point as well in your account underneath your store settings. So typically whenever the lapse point is small, it means that you maybe have, less than a year's worth of data. So I would say if you feel like there's a certain lapse point that you want, you can always change your lapse point underneath the store settings. You can manipulate that, and that will then show you, I'll go ahead and show you guys quickly again. So you can see that, where to do that, but then you can actually manipulate that and make it whatever you want. So if you go down to settings, then you go to store settings, and then you click right here, the lapse point, it will show you the suggested lapse point, but then you can type in whatever lapse point you want. So as you get more data in your store and that lapse point increases or is maybe more reflective of what you think it should be, you can always go back to using the suggested lapse point, or again, manipulate your own lapse point. Okay, And then let's see. If we import orders from another system into Neto, will it come into Neto Analytics? So
yeah, I might fill that one because it's more about how Neto and Neto Analytics talk. But yeah, the pretty much every order that appears in Neto, all the information will be pushed across into Neto Analytics. So you should be able to see all of that.
Awesome. Thank you. And then it looks like there's a question from Sandon. Is there a smart mail integration coming? So I would.
Yeah, that's actually an integration we have with Neto at the moment. I seem to recall that SmarterMail doesn't have a API that we can integrate with yet for Neto Analytics. I think that's the case, and that's something that might be on the cards once that's more fleshed out. But yeah, we might just have to just maybe do one more question before we move on quickly because we're getting close to our time limit.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I'll just look at maybe the last one. So what are a few examples of how current clients use customer segments to generate revenue? So that's a great question. I'll go ahead and share my screen with you guys again. Okay, perfect. So I would say I typically tell my clients I would start with 3 main ones. So I would come in and depending on the client, but 3 really good ones that I say are really good just for generating revenue and typically have a really good generating revenue. So I will look at just from a time frame standpoint, I usually recommend doing a campaign with your 12 months since last purchase. So typically there's a good amount of customers in that bucket. So that's a good bucket to hit because you can see for this case, for this store, there'd be 5,000 customers that were in that bucket. So obviously there's a lot of revenue on the table. So that's always a really good one. I would say too, the first purchase is another really good campaign to run. So that's going to be all of your customers that based off of the time frame that you have selected have only ever purchased one time. So again, there's a big opportunity to try to convert those customers into repeat customers. So I would recommend doing that one as well. And then I always like the VIP one. I think that, I don't know about you guys, but I love getting email whenever it's like, hey, you're a VIP. I don't know, something psychologically makes me want to buy more whenever somebody calls me a VIP. So I think that's a really good one. Just, I think your customer base is so important because they've already purchased from you. So there's a lot of opportunity in upselling your existing clients and really cultivating that customer loyalty and relationship with your customers. So I usually say pick 3 to start with. I had one of my customers, she did 1 and she made $18,000. And then she told me, Megan, I'm going to run a campaign every day. So I was like, go for it. So, I would probably start with a couple of really targeted campaigns, maybe 3, 2, try a couple out and then go from there. But again, you have the flexibility with the custom segmentation to really get creative and really have a really good time with your customers. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So we might just have to leave that as the last question. Now, our moderators will be in the chat still, so if you do have any more, please post them. If we don't get time to answer them, we will come back to them and actually post a full Q&A from today's session along with a copy of the video. So I really thank you so much, Megan, for the demo. So to wrap this up, look, if you're ready to take the guesswork out of understanding your customers and you want to get involved with Neto Analytics Studio, it's currently available as part of the Neto 360 plan, which is our new fully featured plan that includes everything Neto has to offer: Neto Ship, Pick and Pack, advanced inventory, and access to unlimited sales channels, so your eBay, Amazon Australia, and more. We'll be putting up a link right now that should appear in your webinar window so that you can upgrade to the Neto 360 plan. If you're so you can do it from this page, or you can log into your control panel and click into the upgrade. So thank you again so much, Jeanette and Megan, for joining us, and thank you to everyone else.
Yeah.
Really hope you've gotten some valuable insights into your customer segmentation and just how Neto Analytics Studio can help you better target and personalize your campaigns. The next webinar in this series is on lifetime value. It's titled How to Increase Your Store's LTV and Profitability with Neto Analytics Studio. And we'll be opening up registrations for the rest of the webinar series right after this webinar. So to sign up, just click on the button that should be appearing in the window now and put your name down for the webinar. But for now, that's it from us. Again, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next webinar.